Hello there everyone, AnthWolf here, bringing you another stream of Final Fantasy XIV, playing as our level 62 Black Mage Evane Jouberault. And where we last left off, we were going through the Heavensward patch story content. We had just went through patch 3.4, also known as Soul Surrender. But we're going to go straight into patch 3.5. Also known as the Far Edge of Fate. Hello there, Bandit. And the Far Edge of Fate is split into two parts, depending on how I feel. I might actually end up merging them. We'll see how it goes. Either way, let's pop ourselves back into the Rising Stones. And I think we need to speak to Tataru to continue with the storyline. Tidings from Gia Albania. Tataru has a request for you. Where is the Diamond Forge? Oh, it's up next to Rorina's shop. Okay, fair enough. Ah, this is the Diamond Forge. Okay, I guess we'll wait for Tataru here then. See what this is all about. Propagating the fact that all Lalafels are evil.
We're here. Did we miss anything?
We would not presume to begin without you, Ida. Eorzea has returned to the Waking Sands, but everyone else is now present.
Yes, but for what exactly? We all have duties to attend to, Alphino, so you may dispense with the preamble.
Thank you, Eorzea. It is the very subject of those duties which compelled me to call this gathering. Though the Warriors of Darkness no longer pose a threat, Eorzea's many troubles demand no less of our attention. And while I stand by the decision to approach each task as we see fit, I fear our effectiveness will ultimately be diminished should we continue to act in ignorance of each other's efforts. Thus, I propose we elect a successor to Minfilia. Not to serve as a fully fledged antecedent, perhaps, but as a coordinator of operations.
Is that all? Well, then the decision seems clear. No one else has shown any enthusiasm for the role, and judging by your performance at our previous meeting, you would seem the perfect candidate. You always did have a flair for politics.
I did not mean to... That was not my intention. As my tenure as commander of the Crystal Braves comprehensively demonstrated, I lack the qualities required for such an office. I would much prefer to remain as I am now, a soldier in the field, so to speak.
Should none of our numbers step forward, must we then constrain some unwilling candidate to take up the position?
Well, based on merit alone, a certain adventurer would be my choice. Though I concede she might struggle to balance her new responsibilities with, let me see, slaying primals, thwarting legatuses, and feeding the orphan poor.
Thancred makes a good point. Any who would wear such a mantle would be bound by its obligations. Have we not become sufficiently familiar with each other's methods to act without an overseer? At present, I see no cause to so willingly limit one of our number.
Oh my goodness! Help! I need some help here!
Tataru, are you all right?
Me? I'm fine. It's this poor girl who just staggered in and collapsed on the floor that I'm worried about.
Narco! Gods, how did... Yashola! Please, you have to help her.
Kral, a hand if you would. Let us see about closing these wounds.
Now, we've staunched the bleeding, but it may be a while before you can move about again. Though having seen your wounds, I'm surprised you are still moving at all.
Thank you. My message. It was too important to delay. I took the shortest route I could, though I knew it was more heavily patrolled. As you can see, my efforts at evasion were not entirely successful.
Honestly, you're too brave for your own good. What was so urgent that you needed to fight half the Empire to get here? You could have been killed.
I'm sorry, Ida. I had good reason. But I imagine your friends are wondering who this bloody mess of a Mikote is. My name is Minago, and I belong to the Alamegan Resistance. I came to warn Ida and Papalimo about one of our leaders. A man who calls himself the Griffin. He's always been dangerous, but he's planning something new. Something reckless.
The Griffin, you say? I've heard the name. Rumor has it your man is eager to test his claws.
Aye, and on no easy target. He means to assault Baelsar's wall from the Alamegan side.
But what does the Griffin possibly hope to gain from such an attack?
From what I understand, he wants the fires of war to spread to Eorzea. And for that, he needs to control the border with Gridania.
So, he means to spark a conflict between the Alliance and the Imperial forces stationed in Alamego, to have Eorzea's armies aid in the liberation effort, whether they will it or no.
His plan is flawed. Even should the Resistance succeed in occupying the wall, they would not be able to hold it. Imperial reinforcements would drive them out within a week.
Be that as it may, if there is even a chance that this scheme could bring about an escalation in hostilities between Eorzea and the Empire, the Alliance must be informed.
Agreed. I should depart for Lim-Solaminsa forthwith and seek an audience with the Admiral. Thancred, Uldar is yours. Alphinaud and Alize, make haste to the Twelveswood and notify the Elder Seedseer of the danger to Gridania. She will duly call a council of the Alliance leaders, whom you must be ready to receive. You will be our voice in Ishgard. Explain the situation to Sir Emmerich and encourage him to send an envoy. To Taru, Kryl, I leave the care of our injured messenger to you. See that she remains quiescent and her wounds closed. I believe that covers everything. Let us be about our tasks.
I suspect the ill tidings from Gridania will be held as a turning point. The beginning to a bloody end. The business of war was ever conducted with the coin of self-sacrifice. 'Twas Master Louis Soir himself who taught us that such costs are not to be ignored or denied. And so, I shall embrace them. When the time comes, I will make my choice, as you will yours.
Okay, so we have Nargo, of course, and I think she's not around. There was someone earlier. We had the false griffin, of course, who revealed his identity as an individual who we found medicine for in Quarry Mill. His resistance cell leader was Minfred, I believe. Both Nargo and Minfred will make a reappearance in the future. But it's for us to go back to Ishgard now and inform Sir Emmerich that the Griffin plans to assault Baelsar's wall, as ill-advised as that seems. Keep forgetting I may have got some gear from doing dungeons early that I can turn in for company seals. Have to do that at some point. Okay, looks like we're going to be playing Escort to Gridania. Thankfully, it's not a very far distance, is it, really, since they're connected. An envoy for Ishgard. Lucia seems eager to set forth for Gridania. Okay, and onwards to Camp Dragonhead to prepare the troops, just in case they're required. So, Lord Emmanuelane's actually taking on some responsibility. And actually taking over as commander of Camp Dragonhead. Hopefully it'll go well. Maybe. Okay, onwards to Gridania we go. An allied decision. Sir Emmerich is ready to attend the council. And we could use the Aethernet shards, but we might as well take a walk. Ah, Yagiri.
I bid you welcome, my friends. As you will by now be aware, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have come into possession of certain intelligence concerning recent developments in the region of Abania. It springs, I am assured, from an unimpeachable source. Is that not so, Master Alphino?
Indeed, Elder Seedseer. Our information comes directly from a member of the Resistance's inner circle, and we have no cause to doubt its veracity.
This griffin of theirs is a fool if he thinks he can hold Baelsar's wall against the Empire. When the Imperials move to take it back, they will come in force, and the resulting fighting is all but certain to spill over into the Black Shroud.
At the Battle of Cartano, the combined might of 3 grand companies labored to contend with the remnants of but a single Imperial legion. Alone, Gridania would be hard-pressed indeed to hold back the tide, should the Garleans turn their minds from reclamation to invasion.
May I once more convey my nation's deepest regrets for our inaction in the days prior to the calamity. 'Tis a stain upon our ledger that I would fain remove. Elder Seedseer, I do hereby request leave to deploy a defensive force within the borders of Gridania. Ishgard's return to the Alliance shall be honored by more than mere ink upon parchment.
The Doman people, too, would join any effort that weakens our common foe. We are few, but our most seasoned shinobi are at your disposal. On behalf of my people, I offer you my humble thanks. Gridania welcomes your assistance.
It is time we set our contingency plans in motion. Is the Alliance agreed? Then let us make ready for war. Victory favors the swift, and there is much to be done.
The Council knows that Alamigo will not soon be wrested from the Empire, and its decision to bolster the border's defenses seems eminently practical. Why then, brother, do you scowl so?
I agree that they have chosen the wisest course available. Indeed, the only reasonable one. Yet something feels awry. In making ready for war, is the Alliance not granting the Griffin the very thing he desired? Any attempt to hold the wall is doomed to failure, aye. But I wonder if we have misjudged the prize for which he plays.
No worries, Bandit. Take your time. Ah, that's right. Baelsar's wall is pretty much on the border with the Sylph lands, isn't it? But back to Revenant's Toll we go. Along with Eorzea and Yagiri. We have some more meals we can choose from. Decent ones as well, item level 250. But again, we'll take the silver piece just so we can sell it for a little bit of gil. Griffin on the wall. Eorzea seems eager to discuss the council's decision with the other scions. Okay. So our party's going to go try and sneak under Baelsar's wall and speak to the Griffin directly to put aside his plan to attack the Imperials, while Alphino and I are going to be watching for any signs of aggression. Ida seems very keen to be supporting, maybe not the Griffin, but maybe the Alamegan Resistance to retake Alamigo, which is a good idea on paper, but as people have mentioned, logistically, the Imperials just have too many men that they could deploy, and then things would get worse. Okay, up to the local watchtower. It's been a long time since we've been in the East Shroud. We've come a long way. We've got Pippin here, Hilda. Oh, we have the Serpent and Storm Commanders. Holy hell, we have a lot of important individuals. Well, shit. The Griffin has a couple of seamstresses actually employed in his army, and they've created uniforms much like those of the Grand Companies. Baelsar's wall is now accessible. So, let's have a look. Marking the border between the Black Shroud and Gia Albania, the legacy of Gaius van Baelsar is a towering monument to imperial tyranny, and now smoke rises from its iron crenellations. In a bid to drag the armies of Eorzea into the struggle for Alamegan liberation, the Griffin and his resistance fighters have disguised themselves in Grand Company uniforms and laid siege to Baelsar's wall. While AnthWolf seeks to call your companions back from the now meaningless mission of diplomacy, you must ascend the war-torn fortification by the swiftest route possible and persuade the Griffin, by force if necessary, to abandon his reckless ambition. Would you like to join me? I see. This is the last dungeon prior to the Stormblood expansion. Syllables. I always like to ask. You could be doing other things, of course. I will throw you an invite. And here we go. And while it's loading, let's have a look at Baelsar's wall. I don't think it's actually all that bad, to be honest with you. Move away from people when targeted by missiles. The second boss has a skill that you're not supposed to move when it's used. We can talk about that later. And then of course the final boss. Isn't so bad. Yeah. If it wasn't such a foggy day, we'd actually see more of the Imperial Castrum, because I'm sure there is an Imperial Castrum here. Yeah, Castrum Oriens. Oh well, no matter.
Sit back and relax for a moment. Ooh, that sounds promising. Baelsar's Wall. So, we have a level 70 White Mage, a level 67 Machinist.
Some Magitech armor. And up to the first boss. Nothing really special here. Filibuster's Boots of Healing. Onwards to the armory. Oh, yes. I forgot about this. Oh, hi. A little bit too early. Ah, god damn it. Oh well, good times. Onwards to the parapet. Ah, these are the Loyalists, the Alamegan Resistance. And up to the final boss. It's a very deformed moon. It was Elbird! Elbird all along.
How'd you like these?
No, my ley lines, how dare you?
Sloppy. I'll tear you limb from limb. Yeah. Sloppy. Yeah. How'd you like this? Yeah! Sloppy. Yeah. 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 Sloppy. Yeah. I'll tear you limb from limb. Yeah. Sloppy. For Alamigo! I have you now. Yes. How'd you like these? Yeah! Sloppy.
Ooh, just caught me there.
Yeah.
And thank you for the commendation.
You've beaten me, aye. But you cannot stop what I've begun. Behold, a glimpse of things to come.
We did it! We showed the bastards!
Aye! Victory is ours!
And who knows, lads? Mayhap the Eorzeans will finally see sense when the enemy turns up on their bloody doorstep.
This is for Alamigo, for Eorzea. They die that others may live.
Laurentius always was a snake.
Vanguards! Attack!
Seven hells! Do you hear that?
War machines. How did they get here so quickly?
Stand your ground! For the resistance!
There's nowhere to run. We're cut off.
Gods help us. What are we thinking? The Empire's too big. Too powerful. Mighty Rhalgr. Grant us the strength to crush our...
There you are.
As you can see, our infiltrators did not elude me for long. Lady Ugiri is sending for an airship even as we speak.
What do we do? This is a massacre!
How wonderful to see you, Commander.
Ilbird. I should have known. This has to end. It has to end now. Do you not see your countrymen dying? Have your ideals rendered you blind even to that? Order the retreat, and we will help your soldiers to safety.
Retreat? With the moment of my triumph so close at hand? You truly are a sheltered child, Leveilleur.
Nidhogg's eyes. No abyss is too deep for you, I see. But trust me when I say that such power was not meant for mortal hands.
How long have I struggled to reach this point? My countrymen, so inured to the taste of defeat, they no longer balk at its bitterness, shouting my throat raw with rallying cries, only to be greeted with dull eyes and blank faces. My brothers and sisters in Ulda have surrendered to their apathy and their appetites. Were it not for the glint of Lodorito's coin, I doubt even those here now would have answered my call. Take back our homeland! Free Al Amigo! Ha! They'll happily mouth the words, but they won't spill the blood. You say no mortal should wield these eyes? Then I shall gladly become a demon. I will suckle on the souls of the hopeless and liberate the homeland they no longer deserve.
What exactly do you mean to do?
Did you hear their cries as victory was snatched away from them? Even with their dying breaths, they cursed the Empire. Never has their desire for vengeance been so raw, so true. A god has no need of faith when summoned by so pure a purpose.
Summoned? You cannot mean to fight the Empire with a primal! You know full well the danger, the futility of relying on such power.
Oh yes, I know their limitations. Which is why I will call upon a deity more terrible than the very black worm of the calamity itself.
What? Here? Now?
Like hells you will!
An ending to mark a new beginning. My pain, my longing, you shall have it all!
This light, is it...
His death completed the ritual. The primal is taking shape.
Well, can't we stop it? There must be something we can do!
There is one thing.
What? Hey! Where do you think you're going?
Master Louisoix briefly contained Bahamut by means of a potent spell of sealing. I will now attempt to do the same.
But that's impossible! We would need hours to collect the necessary ether, if not days!
Ah, Alphino, though I concede it may not always be apparent, I was ever your grandsire's finest pupil.
Timtimati, of course! The staff still holds enormous power, broken or not.
Don't you dare, Papalimo! I know how that spell works!
It is time to leave!
Quite right. Quickly now, off you go! The further away, the better!
No! If you're staying, then so am I!
No, Ida! There is a path only you can walk, and it must not end here, not like this! Take her! Please, you have to take her!
What? No! Damn it, Thancred! Put me down! Thancred!
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you! Go!
I think he means now!
I bid thee farewell again, my dear Ida. Now, let us see how good a student I truly was.
God damn it, Papalimo. Yes, indeed it was us who moved. Ah, another brick orchestrion roll. And back to the Rising Stones to let everyone else know what happened. Oh, or maybe not. Hello, Alphino. Louis Soir's finest student. It is plain that recent events have shaken Alphino to the core. sad times all around. But so ends part 1 of the Far Edge of Fate, which is patch 3.5. I'm gonna give myself a couple of minutes. I'll quickly mute myself. And then we'll go straight into part 2, which is patch 3.55. So, I will be just a moment. I will be right back. Sorry about the wait there, everyone. And I'm back. Let us continue. The obvious solution. The interminable wait for news from Gridania seems to be taking its toll on Eorzea. Seems the members of the Eorzean Alliance are gathering once more to discuss the situation. Meanwhile, in Vesper Bay,
A word, if you would, good sir. This place, it is within the realm of Eorzea.
You're an odd-looking fellow, aren't you? Still, takes all sorts, I suppose. This here's Vesper Bay. Thanalan's door to the ocean, as some folk like to call it.
Am I to understand from your answer that I have indeed arrived in Eorzea?
Eh? Yes? You're in Eorzea?
Ah! A plain response at last, and the one I wanted at that. My journey was not without its hardships, and I would sooner travel by land than put to sea again. You do not believe that so small a bark could bear me across the ocean? Such timid little sailors. I had but to set my course and set my jaw till I made port. Though, 'twould perhaps have been wise to lay down my oars a moment to sup on more than the spray of brine water. By the trembling of my limbs, I sense a brief repast may be in order. Nay, I will not hearken to the feeble grumblings of an empty belly. Duty comes before all.
Good God, man. Are you all right?
Thou art far indeed from home, friend.
Hello there. Getting comfy by the fire, I see. Onwards to Gridania. Again.
Dear friends, pray accept my heartfelt thanks for your efforts in defense of Gridania's borders. I would fain dwell longer on my gratitude for the support of the Alliance, but the situation at Baelsar's wall demands that we forego such pleasantries.
According to our most recent intelligence, the cocoon of light that formed in the air above the wall remains undimmed and unbroken. After measuring the cocoon's etheric concentrations, Archon Y'shtola has confirmed the presence of a primal entity.
So we must assume that Ilbert's thrice damned god is indeed trapped within. And what news of the Imperials? They're not like to ignore such a spectacle.
Sir, a Garlean airship was observed making an approach, but the vessel was destroyed when it drew near. The Empire appears to have made no subsequent attempts to reach the object.
The soldiers who witnessed the incident spoke of a lance of light issuing from within the cocoon. Of an entire warship being reduced to smoking ruin in the space of a moment. Veterans of Cartano, meanwhile, likened the destruction to that wrought by the fiery wrath of Bahamut.
We could face another calamity.
So the Primal is awake then? Contained, yes, but for how long? We must destroy it now, lest it break free.
Agreed. There is, however, the small matter of how to get close enough to a being that swats warships from the sky as you would a bothersome gnat.
Is this truly so complex a puzzle? Or have you no stomach for the obvious solution?
What in the hells are you doing here?
A pleasure to see you too, Garland. Now, if you'd be so kind as to explain to these good people why you should be begging me for my assistance, that would be most appreciated.
Who is this man?
Oh, how terrifically rude of me. Nero Tolskeva, former tribunus of the 14th Legion of the Garlean Empire. These days, however, one might say that I'm something of a free agent.
What do you want, Nero?
I was getting to that. Although you already know what I'm about to propose, old friend. As you have rather belatedly realized, within that frail binding lurks an entity alike in strength to the great Bahamut, and the only force in existence which might conceivably contend with such a foe is the very creation which captured the Elder Primal in the first place. I speak, of course, of Omega.
Omega? That hulk has been gathering dust beneath the plains of Cartano since the Allegans breathed their last. And none alive knows how to wake it.
I'm sorry? Do you understand who it is with whom you have the privilege of speaking? I'm Nero Tolskeva, Master Engineer, the mechanical genius who restored the Ultima weapon to full operational capacity.
And I shouldn't be saying this because now you have a very good excuse to kill me, if you didn't have one before.
And as luck would have it, I am graciously offering you the use of my considerable expertise.
And what, you just expect us to accept? Why would we trust the word of a man who furnished the Black Wolf with the means to subjugate Eorzea?
Trust? You wound me, Garland. All those years, studying side by side at the Academy, sharing both trial and triumph, we were countrymen once, you and I. But sentiment aside, have you a better solution? Or do you mean to send in your vaunted hero there, as you always do, and pray the world is not engulfed in flame?
To be fair, flames is kind of what we do as a black mage.
Let us approach the problem in a rational manner. Does not the fact that Omega slumbers in stasis point to the existence of some overriding technology? A means of control?
I would ask a question, if I may. Nero, was it not? In the event that we succeeded in using Omega to shackle the Primal in the manner you propose, what then would become of it? Do we not risk repeating the mistakes of the Allagans?
Omega is but a tool. How we choose to employ that tool is entirely up to us. Of course, if you would rather leave it buried beneath Cartano while you continue your petty squabbles above, then I suppose that is also your choice.
Spare us, Nero. The Seedseer's concern is a valid one. He who controls Omega wields the power of the gods, the very power which led the Allagans to destroy themselves.
And does it not fall to we engineers to prevent such misuse? What was your company's proud slogan? Freedom through technology?
A creed you follow, is it? What say you? Do we take this villain at his word?
Oh, you're asking my opinion? Not at all.
As will I. I don't like it, but then it doesn't look like we have much choice. Would the Council be willing to entrust this matter to a pair of former Imperials?
Yes. The task of restoring the Allagan relic will be yours. But the responsibility for its reawakening must remain with the Council. Do we condone this course of action?
Aye. It would seem we do. Let the record show that we invest this contingent with the authority to enter Cartano and take command of Omega. Sid, I appoint you leader of the expedition. Scions, I would ask that you assign some few of your number to escort Master Garland and supervise the other one.
We should be happy to oblige. The politics of Cartano being what they are, I dare say our neutrality will prove useful in avoiding any unnecessary entanglements.
If I am not mistaken, Doma occupies a similarly neutral position. Might we not persuade you to join the expedition, Lady Yugiri? If you suspected any foul play from Nero, you would be welcome to kill him.
My blade is yours.
Not a moment's hesitation, eh? You'll forgive me if I do not shake your hand.
I can imagine that conversation where Nero just pats Garland on the back. And Garland just looks at him and goes, "Don't touch me. We're not friends." Greater obsolescence. Alphino is eager to join Sid and the others. Actually, if we're going to the airship landing, we have that unlocked through the Aethernet shards. Okay, Alphino's going to speak to Y'shtola and Kryl, and everyone's going to meet at the Rising Stones. That was fast. No, you don't offer him tea to turn. I know you're very polite and very kind, but he's not our guest.
So these are the fabled headquarters of the Scions. I confess I would have expected an order of self-proclaimed warrior scholars to surround themselves with the fruits of man's enlightenment. And yet there's not so much as a single piece of magitech in sight. It never ceases to amaze me how primitive you Eorzeans truly are.
Oh, I'll have you know that the Rising Stones is home to the very latest in magitech innovation. Wedge calls it the Mark 14 Thermocoil Boil Master, and it's the finest kettle I've ever had the pleasure to own.
We are returned. Well, Ida and I, at least. Ishtola and the others remain behind to continue their assessment of the binding magic.
There didn't seem much point staying just for that, so I decided to come back with Alphino. Papalimo bought us this time. We shouldn't waste it.
By your leave!
Good God, that voice could fell a gigas.
This is the Rising Stones, domicile of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. I enter at the invitation of one Lord Eorzea. I spy you there, Shadow Walker. You always were a hard one to find.
Yugiri, do you know this man?
Gosetsu, why are you come to Eorzea?
In search of you, Yugiri. For days and nights did I row across the angry sea. I made port in good spirits, only for my own flesh to betray me over the trifling matter of an empty belly. Collapsed in the street like an unfed stray I was, until Lord Eorzea came to my aid. Over a most welcome meal, we spoke of the plight of Doma, and I learned of our displaced countrymen's work to resettle this blighted land. 'Twas blind fortune that I was able to locate you so swiftly. But now we must make ready to depart. Our master languishes in dire peril, and Doma calls her daughter home.
It is not so simple, Gosetsu. There are obligations which bind me here.
You refuse? Did you mislay your oath during your flight from our homeland? The laws of hospitality must be honored, but surely the vow to defend your master demands the greater obeisance.
It was our master who bid me guide our people to safe haven by any means necessary. And it was the Scions you see before you who provided us succor and sanctuary when all others refused. Dire peril or no, were I to return without first repaying such hospitality, our master would cut me down at the threshold.
Mayhap that is so.
There is more. A crisis threatens all within this realm, Eorzean and Doman alike, and I go to play my part in its resolution. I will not bring shame upon our liege by abandoning my people or my duty.
How very noble of you. Now, in the name of honor, kinship, and, yes, practicality, might I suggest we get this expedition underway? Or would you rather debate the finer points of duty and leave Omega to the Empire?
The Empire? Yugiri, you draw steel against the curs of Garlemald? Then why did you not say so? My blade is oath-bound to fall upon the ranks of the Imperials wheresoever they march. Lead on, Shadow Walker, and may the enemy tremble at our coming.
And we have Gosetsu. Hello, Tataru. Yes, I have nightmares about it still. And so we've gained a monocle, because we always should have a monocle, of course. It's the full set of Scion Adventurer's gear. Fly free, my pretty. Ida's eyes shine with rekindled determination. Okay, onwards once more. Heading to the Excelsior. And then on to the Cartano Flats. And to see if we can rouse Omega from its slumber. I guess Andromeda didn't have airships. Unfortunately, it seems we have a duty, so I'll have to break the party, bandit. We do. Duty calls. Commence battle for Fly Free, my pretty. We will be synced to level 60.
Now, where was that? Ah! I've enabled the teleporter. One brief jump and we shall arrive in Omega's control room.
How convenient. You've been here before.
Of course. It was no easy task, threading a path through all the skirmishers. But how could I ignore the existence of such a fascinating toy? You may trust that my preliminary examination was suitably thorough.
Trust? Aye. I trust your appetite for technology.
I chased down a suspect airship, and who should I find but the traitor, Sid Garland. Searching for something, engineer? Something big? It's close, isn't it?
Nero, he's got your hammer.
It's like all my name days have come at once.
Of all the scouts the Empire could have sent. Take care of that brute, will you?
God damn it. Can't let Nero tinker around in there by himself. I'm sorry to leave you to it, but I dare say you'll manage without me. This clod has no idea who he's dealing with.
I am Gosetsu, Samurai of Doma. You will rue your choice of opponent this day.
No holding back.
An opening.
I have you.
This one'll sting.
No retreat. No surrender.
With soul and steel.
It's all over now.
Holy shit, Gosetsu. Nice work.
Leave this to me.
Look upon a samurai of Doma.
You watching, Pabalimo?
Your defense is lacking.
'Tis my right to strike.
No holding back.
An opening.
I have you.
Holy hell, there's a lot of them.
This one'll sting.
Magitech Cannon, a Photon Stream.
Your defense is lacking.
Okay.
Tis my right to strike!
It's all over now.
No retreat. No surrender.
With soul and steel!
You watching, Pavelimo?
An opening.
Look upon us, samurai of Doma!
No holding back.
Leave this to me.
This will sting.
Your defense is lacking.
Tis my right to strike!
It's all over now.
No retreat. No surrender.
With soul and steel!
You watching, Pavelimo?
An opening.
Look upon us, samurai of Doma!
Temporal stasis disengaged. All systems operational. Garland?
All clear on this side. It's waking up.
Remarkable. Omega sensors immediately detected the presence of the cocoon, even at this distance. They must have been set to scan for sources of energy exceeding certain magnitudes.
I still don't see any means to control the machine directly. It seems to have been designed to act wholly autonomously. Once we release Omega, we can be fairly certain it will attempt to capture the Primal at Baelsar's wall. Assuming its mission is successful, our only option at that point will be to re-engage its stasis system and put it back to sleep.
And should the machine happen to misbehave, we'll simply initiate an emergency shutdown. I confess, we don't yet have a complete grasp of its capabilities, but I'm certain the details will not elude us for long.
Well, I understood less than half of that. So, my question to you is, are we doing the right thing?
Thank you, Yida, because I was thinking the exact same thing.
What do I think? All right. Step aside, Sid. Is this the thing I need to press?
Yes, that's the one.
You gave too much for us to waste this chance, Papalimo. So this is for you. And me.
Yes! Fly free, my pretty! Show us what you can do.
The launch sequence has begun. Omega is loose. Omega has stopped transmitting. But that shouldn't be. I didn't engage the stasis system.
And what does this signify? I have little understanding of these contrivances.
The launch went exactly to plan, but all signals emanating from Omega have ceased. This may indicate any number of things, but we will need to join the Scions out in the field if we are to ascertain which one.
Right. I've ordered a malfunctioning beast to go to sleep. That should prevent any unfortunate mishaps. I suggest we make our way back to Gridania.
Omega destroyed the cocoon. Papalimo's spell is fading. It was bound to his ether, you see. And if the connection is broken...
Before we travel back, I was wondering if we could use the Allegan terminal there. Back to Gridania we go. Getting a couple of more orchestron rolls there. The far edge of fate. Alphino has the look of a man with much to say. Let us speak to the Eorzean Alliance once again. Let them know what we somewhat bore witness to from the control room of Omega. I see. So the Eorzean Alliance members are now keen to maybe speak to the Alamegan resistance, while Raoban's forces, or the Eorzean forces, are going to take over Baelsar's wall, while the Imperials are in disarray. And back to the East Shroud we go. Back to the Spire before the Battle of Baelsar's Wall actually took place.
My friends, I cannot well express how glad I am to see you both unharmed. They say that Omega's clash with the Primal shook the very firmament.
You need not have worried. The battle took place far above the ground. We were able to observe in relative safety, though I'm given to understand that there were casualties on the far side of the wall.
It was like watching a nightmare unfold before our very eyes. Ilburd's primal manifested in the form of a colossal dragon, a being of pure violence. It burst forth from the cocoon with such terrible force.
That such a horror should spring from the eyes of Nidhogg comes as no surprise. Nor do I wonder at its form. Ilburd all but announced it in the moments prior to his death. Plainly, it was his dying wish to visit a second calamity upon the Empire.
And I am quite certain the abomination would have obliged had it not found itself outmatched by Omega. Gods! I am no stranger to the works of Alag, but even I was unprepared for the machine's furiosity. It beggared belief.
And how fares poor Ida in the midst of all this? Have you spoken with her?
She's up on the platform, lost in thought. We deemed it best not to disturb her, but mayhaps she would welcome some company after all. Shall we?
The light's gone. It was all we had left of him.
Ida.
I don't blame anyone. I knew what was going to happen. I knew the spell Papalimo meant to cast would drain away his life force. I knew that it would only buy us a little time.
Ida, there is no need to explain.
But there is. I can't hide in Papalimo's little shadow anymore, and I shouldn't hide behind my sister's mask. 20 years ago, on the day the Empire marched into Alamigo, I was still just a child, not even 5 summers old. My father had been one of the leaders of the revolution. He had fought to overthrow the Mad King, Theodoric. And my sister had fought alongside him. But she was strong and kind, and always knew what to do. But when the Garleans came, everything changed. My father went to war against them too. And I never saw him again. After that, I remember a lot of running. My sister dragged me for malms and malms until we came to the city of Sharlayan. That was where she met Master Louis Soir. He introduced her to the Circle of Knowing, and she eventually became an Archon.
She was your inspiration. Is that not why you took up her mask and her name? Or did you simply mean to continue what she had started?
You've known all along, haven't you? That I wasn't Ida.
Of course. We all recognized you at once. 'Twas Papalimo who persuaded us to maintain the charade.
It was silly to think I could fool you. I knew that even then, but I sort of decided not to know. Ida died 6 years ago, on a mission to smuggle refugees out of Alamigo. They say she was overwhelmed by Imperial soldiers when she stayed behind to save a little girl. She was so strong. There must have been a lot of them.
There's nothing much we can really say about that.
I'm sorry for lying to you. My real name is Lise. When Papalimo brought me Ida's mask, it was meant as a keepsake, but I decided I wanted to be his new partner, to keep alive all the good that she had done. I didn't want to become Ida, exactly. At the time, though, I still didn't know who I was myself, and it almost seemed easier to play the role. Papalimo agreed to help, of course, but it was never what he wanted for me. He wanted me to walk my own path, and those were his final words to me. The Archon's mark he gave me is faded, and my last excuse along with it. So this is it. Whatever I choose to do from now on, I do as Lise. And I choose to continue my family's fight. I want Alamigo to be the country that Ida and my father always wanted it to be.
War is upon us once more.
Do you regret standing against the Empire? Would you have chosen a different road, knowing what you know now?
To claim that I never doubted the decision would be a lie. But I made my choice, and I have defended it with blade in hand ever since.
The battle continues, and our steel is needed. Come, Shadow Walker, we leave for the east. for Doma.
Credit roll. Indeed. Ooh. And so ends the Heavensward patch story content.
Children of the land, do you hear? Echoes of truths that once rang clear. Two souls intertwined, one true love they did find, bringing land and heavens near. But flames that burn full bright soon fell dark. Memories dimmed by shadowed hearts. In the waxing gloom did wane the lover's moon, watching as their worlds drift apart. One soul's cry, a passion welling within. Sacrifice, a final plea to her kin. Yet this bond of hope by treachery was broke, scattering her words to the wind. Swelling over long seas of blood are a song, and death an afterthought to those who fight for naught. Lying empty, incomplete. children of the land and service. Why must you turn to empty bliss? Tell me why break trust? Why turn the past to dust? Seeking solace in the abyss. Tell me why create a circle none can break? Why must you let go the life you were bestowed? This I fear I'll never know.
I'm enjoying the music, but might as well talk briefly anyway, since the credits are still going to roll for another 5 minutes or so. So, with the end of the patch story content of Heavensward, we will now be setting up quite nicely to go into the Stormblood expansion. Before we do that, I'm going to take a day or two just to myself, primarily because we have a whole new class we're going to be playing as in that expansion. As everyone is no doubt aware, we will be playing as a Red Mage, for good or for ill, which is a class that was introduced with the Stormblood expansion. Now, it starts at level 60, and my Red Mage is currently level 55. So, yeah, I'm going to have to level up my Red Mage a little bit before we can actually start any of the story content for Stormblood. But it shouldn't take me too long. And I've had a bit of practice, both in the Palace of the Dead and just in trials and dungeons in general. And the rotation seemed complicated at first, but it's not too bad. It's fairly straightforward once you get the hang of it, and over time I will improve and tweak things to make it feel more comfortable for myself. Looking forward to it. Once we get our Red Mage level 60 and get ready to start the Stormblood expansion, we have actually a set of fashion, which I will likely be wearing throughout that series as well. Though, of course, depending on the armor sets we get as quest rewards, other fashion I may come across, or what armor sets we can get as rewards from using tomestones. Because once we hit level 70, or get so far in the story progress, there will be more tomestones, not just poetic ones, that will be made available to us. And you can get some of the later gear through spending those. But once the credits have rolled and we see any post-credit cutscenes, I will end off this stream with the, I suppose, opening cinematic of Stormblood. And if I remember, because I didn't remember for Heavensward, when we actually get ready to start the Stormblood expansion in the following stream, I will play the opening cinematic again, just to set the theme, so to speak. But, let's say we still have maybe 5 minutes of credits to roll, so feel free to skip ahead if you're watching this later on YouTube, or just sit back, relax, maybe make yourself a drink, and we'll just get through them. Yes, I had forgotten how long the credits actually could be. And so ends the far edge of fate. And so ends the patch story content. Oh, you're behind the counter. Fair enough. A good place to take a break. And when we come back in the next stream, or the next video, we will finally be getting into the Stormblood expansion at long last. There's a few things we could still do, of course. There's a few dungeons, there's a few raids we could unlock and run through, but we could always leave them till later. I'm looking forward to actually progressing in the storyline even more so. So, I need to spend a bit of time now leveling up the Red Mage. We need 4 in a little bit levels. And then we'll be ready to go into the Stormblood expansion. So, I will get on and do that at my own pace. Probably take me a day or so. And then I'll see you all for even more Final Fantasy XIV. Until then, though, I hope you've all enjoyed this series, and thank you for joining me once again, Bandit, and anyone else who may be lurking on Twitch here and there. But I'll see you all for even more next time. Until then, though, enjoy the rest of your days. Until then, bye-bye now. Oh, wait. We were going to look at the Stormblood cinematic, weren't we? I almost forgot. I'd already said my goodbyes as well. Now we just need to sit back and relax. For a minute. My mouse cursor was hovering over the end stream button as well. And there we are. So, 4 more levels and a tiny bit. Get our red mage up to level 60. And then, as I say, we'll be ready to go into the Stormblood expansion and progress with the story of Final Fantasy XIV. Thank you all for joining me once again, and enjoy the rest of your days. Until then, no, bye bye now.